Have you ever built a house on the rock? Well, Victoria and I spent 5 weeks building a beach house at Obyan Beach here on the island of Saipan. And today we're going to tell a short little devotional about that. But if you want to see us actually building our beach house, you can check the links in the description below. Today is our once in a month special chapel where we have students from General Baptist Bible College in Davao City, Philippines, students from Saipan Community School in Saipan, and individuals on our YouTube channel watching the same devotional, and it's super, super exciting. Like I said, today's devotional is about building your house on the rock, making sure that it can stay steady. There's a story in here that Jesus tells, and we are going to talk about that at our Obyan Beach house. But first, check out this special intro video that we made specially for our beach house. Hey, what up? We're Pastor Matty Ice.
And we love water.
Trees need water to grow.
You especially need to drink water when working outside.
And we like to preach the living water wherever we go.
So enjoy these videos of our beach house.
And if you want to go on an adventure with us,
hit that subscribe button
as we use our resources around the world. We made it to our beach house. If you are one of the students at General Baptist Bible College in the Philippines, welcome to Obyan Beach and welcome to our beach house. If you want to see more videos of us building our beach house and doing other cool things here and all around the island of Saipan, Victoria, what should they do?
They should ask their parents if they can subscribe to the Pastor Matty Ice YouTube channel.
I mean, we love seeing you once a month in these devotionals where we all get to be together, but seeing you more often would be really cool too. So make sure you ask them if you can go to the Pastor Matty Ice YouTube channel. And if you are one of the students at Saipan Community School or one of our YouTube subscribers, make sure you just look up the Philippines because it's really cool. You know, the saying is everything is more fun in the Philippines. And I've been there, and that's pretty much true. Everything is more fun in the Philippines.
Remember our dog Water? Say hi, Water.
Hi, Water.
Water loves water. She likes to drink water, she likes to play in the water, and she likes to play in the snow too.
What?
But we're going to talk about 3 different types of water later. First, take a look at our beach house. See, first we had to go and find strong and sturdy trees, trunks, to build our beach house with. And then we chopped them down to size and started to build our foundation. So we dug big holes in the sand and put rocks in there around the sticks and covered it all back up to make it nice and strong. And then we built our walls by grabbing vines and tying it all up together and making it all nice and secure.
So, what does that have to do with what we're talking about today in the verse that Victoria will be reading soon from Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 to 27? If you want to flip there, you can go ahead and flip there, and she will be reading that soon, Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 through 27. See, what we want to talk about today are those 3 types of water that Victoria was referencing. So for us on the island of Saipan, there are waves everywhere, right? We're on an island, there are waves all around. I'm sure you at GVC and our YouTube subscribers, you've seen waves before, waves crashing in. So that's the first type of water that's raising up. The second type of water that we want to talk about, rain, just pouring down, you know, especially GVC during rainy season. You understand. I've been there and it's just like, whoo, and I'm like, whoa, it's just raining all the time. And then the last type is just the streams that just carry from one town to the next or one city to the next, and they're very helpful for people getting water, very helpful for the trees, very helpful for the livestock, but also kind of dangerous, especially during those rainy seasons. So those are the 3 types of water that we are going to talk about today as we bring it back together with our beach house. But Victoria's going to read Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 to 27.
Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell and the floods came and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall because it had been founded on the rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And then the rain fell and the floods came and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it.
Okay, so what's happening here? This figure of speech talking about our lives. See, Jesus had just preached what's called the Sermon on the Mount. It starts at Matthew chapter 5, and he is preaching these things a lot about loving people, loving one another, and focusing totally on God. He talks about the Lord's Prayer in there. Maybe you've heard that. Giving it all to Jesus and trusting in the Father and how he is going to work through our life. So he says, if you do these things, if you do these words that I've just talked about on the Sermon on the Mount, then your life will be like a house that is built on the rock. So, Victoria, remind us, what was one of the first things we had to do when building our beach house?
One of the first things we had to do was to get sturdy sticks.
We had to get sturdy sticks. See, these sticks here, they're all along behind the camera here, the trees had already fallen down, but they were still so sturdy. And it took a very long time to cut and cut those things down just so that we can use them. So now we have pillars and we have beams, a part of our beach house, that aren't going to break the first time the wind comes in. They're not going to snap. The rains aren't going to hold it down. If the waves were to come up here, which it's pretty far away, the waves aren't going to get up here, but they would still be fine. So we have to be sturdy. So, Victoria, we can't just take these sturdy sticks and just stick them in the ground, right? We have to. What do we do with those sturdy sticks?
We had to dig holes into the ground and build a foundation, put rocks in there to hold the sticks in place, and then cover it all up with other rocks.
Okay, so let's think about this. In our lives, as we are focusing on living for Jesus and in our gratitude bowing down before him, which is the theme at General Baptist Bible College this year, what are we supposed to do? Well, we're supposed to say, God, we can make sure that we're sturdy, we can make sure that we're healthy, but until we bow down before you and put our life on the rock and trust what you've been telling us to do and living our life for you and not for us, until we do that, then our life, the first big storm, is going to be knocked down, because we can only do so much as humans. But instead, you have to dig deep, dig deep, and stick yourself on the rock. It's not just the sand, because if we were to put it on the sand, what happens, Victoria?
The water's going to wash it all away.
Wash it all away. But we have to build it on the rock. And so we dug a hole, then we put the stick down there, and then we put rocks around it to hold it steady. And that's what Jesus can be for all of us. In difficult times, when the rains are coming in, when the stream rises up, when the waves come crashing in on our lives, as long as we're sturdy on the rock and we are sturdy, we're going to be pretty good. But there was one last step that we did in building our beach house. What was that, Victoria?
That was when we took vines and tied them up to secure the sticks to the beach house.
So we took these vines that were along the beach, and then we tied our sturdy sticks, these side beams here, we tied those together. Okay, so what is that for us? Well, for us, it's our relationship. So let's recap here. The first thing that we had were our sticks, and that's ourselves. And we can be strong, we can be mighty, but if we're not rooted and we're not planted on the rock, so the rock is Jesus. And then the last step are the vines. These things, these relationships that we can have with other people. See, these vines, when we have relationships with other people, they can hold us together and they can keep us sturdy. And it's really helpful when we have relationships with Christians. See, if we have relationships with other bad people, those vines can actually tie around us and be like handcuffs. And then we can't do what we're called to do. We can't bow down before Jesus. We can't serve him. And as a result, we can't love our friends. We can't love our family. We can't do these things that we are supposed to do as students and as people in general, because we're enslaved. Bad people are saying, you know what? It's okay to lie. It's okay to cheat. It's okay to make fun of people and be mean to people. It's okay to do those things. Those are the lies that these other vines wrap around us, and we can't live our own life. But when we wrap good vines around us, when we wrap the vines of our teachers and our moms and our dads and good friends, maybe a pastor if you do go to church, if we wrap those vines around us, then we have the trifecta, which is sturdy ourselves, root ourselves on the sturdy rock of Jesus, and then tie ourselves together with vines, with other people holding us together. That way, like it says in there, when the storms come, when the winds come, when difficult things come, what's going to happen, Victoria?
We're going to stay strong. Stay sturdy.
We're going to stay strong. So that is our challenge for you this week in your devotional. Maybe you're at GVC, or maybe you're at SCS, or you're just one of our YouTube subscribers. Wherever you are, that's our challenge. To be sturdy, like this beach house, it takes a lot of work. Victoria, how long did it take us to build this beach house?
5 days over the course of a month.
5 days over the course of a month. We walked out here. It's a 10-minute walk out to this spot in the beach. It took us time to cut the sticks. And like this beach house is pretty small, right? And it took us that long to build it. And so it's gonna take you time. You can't just say, you know what, I wanna be a better brother right
now.
That's not how it works. Or you know what, I'm gonna always be nice to my mom, right? And then what happens 15 minutes later? She gets mad at you because you didn't listen to her, or whatever. It takes time. It takes time to make sure that we are sturdy. These sticks were really old, right? They came from really old trees. It took a lot of time to dig the rocks away and put those in there, and it took a lot of time to cut all the vines and tie it all together. And sometimes, Victoria, when you were tying all the vines together, was it always really clean?
No, sometimes I get all this sticky stuff all over my hands, and they get stuck together and get all over my arms. It's pretty messy.
Sometimes it gets sticky trying to do things. Sometimes our hands get dirty. Sometimes it gets sticky, and we might be like, oh, this is too difficult. But trust us. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Even in the midst of rain and storm and difficulties, because eventually your life can be a lot like this beach house. Nice and sturdy. So that is our challenge for you wherever you are, SCS, GBC, or one of our YouTube subscribers. Remember, if you want to see more videos like this in our beach house before our next devotional, Victoria, what should they do?
Subscribe to the Pastor Matty Ice YouTube channel.
All right, this is that channel. I'm Pastor Matt.
I'm Victoria.
Wherever you are in the world, stay chill and float on. Now that you know what it means to build your house on the rock, have you built your life on the rock? Have you made sure that you yourself are sturdy and that you're not going to fall over the first time the winds come? The first time your teacher gives you a difficult test, the first time your parents give you something that you need to do like chores, the first time your brother or sister makes fun of you, are you going to snap and yell at them? Have you made sure that you've found good vines to hold you together? People like your mom, your dad, your teachers, maybe your pastor, your preacher. And most importantly, have you made sure that you spent the time digging down deep so that you can root, that you can firmly plant your life on the rock of Jesus? So that being rooted on Jesus is where our sword drill comes from today. Now, sword drill is just a fancy word for Bible drill. So whether you're at Saipan Community School or maybe just watching this on YouTube or General Baptist Bible College in the Philippines, let's all do our sword drill together. So to do so, we just hold this, and I'm going to say Ephesians chapter 3, verse 17 3 times. Ephesians chapter 3, verse 17. And when I say it after the third time, I'll say go, and then you go to Ephesians chapter 3, verse 17. And we do this so that you can know how to find things better. And then when the devil, when he lies to you and tells you something, you can say, oh yeah, check out this verse. And that's our sword to fight off the devil. All right, so I'm going to say it 3 times. Everybody has the Bible up. Ephesians chapter 3, verse 17. Ephesians chapter 3, verse 17. Last time, Ephesians chapter 3, verse 17, and go. So the first thing you probably need to do is go to the table of contents and look for Ephesians there. Ephesians is in the New Testament. So go there, or if your table of contents is alphabetical, E and then PH, Ephesians. So then once you find Ephesians, it's sort of in the back of the book, then you look for the big number 3. Ephesians chapter 3. And then you look for the little number, verse 17. Now, 17 is near the end, right above chapter 4. So go to 4, and then, there's 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. Got it. Ephesians chapter 3, verse 17. Now, this is a part of Paul's prayer to the people in what's called Ephesus. So 16 and 15 and 14 are also really important. But let's start with 17 here. Ephesians 3, 17 says, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith, that you, being rooted and grounded in love, and then 18 says, may have strength to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth and length and height and depth, 19, and to know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled with all the fullness of God. That we can be rooted in that love so that we can work together with other people so that we may know all the length of God's love for us. That He wants us to build our house on Him, on that sturdy rock. One way we do that is by having a sturdy family. So I'm going to pray, and then you and your classes are going to sing the Family of God song. Let's pray. Jesus, thanks for being great. Help us to root and plant ourselves on you. We pray all these things in your name, Jesus. Amen. All right, where you are, whether GBC, SCS, or at your house, go sing the Family of God song. Love somebody. All right, wherever you are in the world, stay chill and float on.